The details of the Hamas response for the proposal of the US for a ceasefire after the UN resolution passed calling for a ceasefire in Gaza have been published. These include a couple of important details and a very significant update and demand from Hamas, and I'm going to be telling you all about it in this video. Their comments on this ceasefire proposal came as follows. On day one of the first phase, temporary ceasefire comes into effect and Israeli forces withdraw from populated areas. On day 3, Israeli forces begin to completely withdraw from the Rafah crossing, the Philadelphia corridor, and the so-called Netzarim corridor, which dissects the Gaza Strip from east to west in the middle area. By day 7, Israel's withdrawal from the specified areas shall be completed. By the end of the first phase on day 42, Israeli forces shall completely withdraw from Gaza Strip, leaving no soldiers within the Palestinian territory. They continued. Regarding prisoner exchanges, Hamas said it would release 33 Israeli captives, dead or alive, in the first phase. The captives would be released in stages, with 3 people released 3 days apart. If Israel doesn't commit to a complete withdrawal from Gaza by day 7, Hamas will halt the captives' release. Hamas rejects any Israeli conditions or vetoes on which Palestinian prisoners would be released in exchange for the Israeli captives. And they ended as follows. The first phase shall end with a declaration of restoring sustainable calm, which means a complete cessation of all military operations, and Hamas also asked that Russia, China, and Turkey be added as guarantors. The main update here, the main demand is the final one, asking for Russia, China, and Turkey to be added as guarantors. Why is Hamas asking for this now? It's because they simply do not trust the Biden administration. Blinken is seen more and more as a person who is not a mediator, but a part of the problem. Clearly, Hamas is not getting the reassurance they want from the US, because before this was submitted, they asked that the US provides a complete and solid approval that they will apply pressure on Israel to commit to the ceasefire and all of its details. This is also a move pushing for more involvement when it comes to Russia, China, and Turkey in the Palestinian and Israeli case, which is something very, very positive. These countries have been secluded previously, primarily Russia after the quartet, after Hamas won the elections in 2006. Slowly they started to be pushed further away by the United States and the United Kingdom primarily. Hamas, by requesting this, clearly there was a coordination between them and the countries mentioned, and they're looking for more involvement because they're simply not getting the assurances that they want from the United States administration, who are seen now as part of the problem and not a side that can be built upon when it comes to the actual ceasefire. We've had a response from Blinken himself and from Israel. Blinken said they could have accepted it, but we can work on their amendments. The Israeli delegation had a certain statement and Benjamin Netanyahu had a different statement. The delegation that's negotiating said these are things that can be worked with. The negotiating delegation. Now, this negotiating delegation, they previously accepted ceasefires that Benjamin Netanyahu did not accept, by the way. So they clearly have more leniency. Benjamin Netanyahu said, Hamas are rejecting the proposal. The question is, how will they officially respond? If Benjamin Netanyahu is going to have his way by saying, no, we're not going to go ahead with these proposals from Hamas, he will continue the genocide, he will continue the war. However, the fact that Blinken and the negotiating delegation from Israel said that these are things that can be worked upon is a signal that they can definitely reach some sort of a solution with involvement from Russia, from China, and from Turkey as well. clearly signaling that we are looking for a new shape in the Middle East, in the geopolitical situation in the region. Now, Blinken, most likely referring to this demand of adding Russia, China, and Turkey, he said Hamas cannot dictate the future of the region. As if Antony Blinken, coming from thousands of miles away, has any right whatsoever for the region. And that statement on its own signals how much of a power position Hamas has and how well they've established themselves throughout this genocide, surviving, fighting, continuing, and increasing their attacks on the Israeli forces in Gaza.